الرحمن الرحيم. الصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد. We continue inshallah ta'ala the study of Bab al-Zuhud Waraa, and the hadith that we have mentioned, it was the hadith number 3rd, or the third hadith from the chapter. We already started the comment on it. However, there's the last part bi'idhnillahi ta'ala that we're going to be or resuming from that part. عن ابن عمر رضي الله تعالى عنهما قال أخذ رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بمنكبيه فقال كن في الدنيا كأنك غريب أو عابر سبيل. كن في الدنيا كأنك غريب, be in this world as you were a stranger, or عابر سبيل, or someone passing by or traveler. And we mentioned the importance of such hadith. However, the aspect of the hadith, to take it in its literal meaning, will be kind of conflicting with many of the aspects of the life of a believer being in a society. However, in the spirit that the person has to carry in his mind, it does not mean that they're going to deprive themselves from buying things, furnishing the house and so on. Like some of the companions, when Allah Ta'ala alayhim, they were literally living such state. However, we know all the other companions, they were not. Even one of the companions, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, who was criticizing some of the state of the believers from the companion in the time of Uthman, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, widening away the rizq of the believers. So seeing Abu Hurairah, for example, in a nice cloak, so he said, don't talk to me. Because he was holding on, I'm sorry, it's not Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, it's either Abu Darda, I think Abu Darda, one of the companions, but one of the companion who actually, he's the one who died by himself, away from the Medina. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, you die alone and then you'll be resurrected alone. And subhanAllah, a group of companions, they were passing by at the time when he died, and he has only with his wife with him, so they honored him. And one of the companions there, he said that I heard the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ about him. So it's either Abu Darda or Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. However, the aspect that I want to specify here, some of the companions, they were, in that aspect, to be renouncing fully to the dunya and literally to not touch anything of it, and to have the minimum of goods, the minimum of tools in their life. It's like truly a traveler. Other of the companions, of course, no, and the majority of the companions, they were like, living the way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided from them. قال لينفق ذو سعة من سعته. Everyone should, spend from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him. So the most important, the balance, what will be the balance? To not waste, and the other aspect, of course, to observe the zakat. And the zakat of al-mal, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't take 50%. You only take 2.5%, which is mean all the remaining is halal for the person to use in what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it halal for him. However, to be gharib, so this is an aspect to be very clear about it, not to be gharib in the dunya, stranger or abir sabil, means that someone literally will be, as gharib, as someone stranger, he has only, some, what fit or fill, luggage, because that's what it means that he's a traveler. No, that's not the moral of the hadith. Or actually some of the companions, as we said, they have, implemented it, but implemented it out of sincerity, out of devotion, out of truly, being drawn toward the meanness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is, they will have, of course, greater reward for their sincerity and for their devotion. But to be gharib in this dunya is more spiritual, more into the way how someone will think about it. Because the person who does not feel that he's a stranger in this life or a traveler in this life is a person who's actually conflicting the true worldview of the divine. I would say worldview of the divine, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defined this life. So he defined Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this life as a test and a short life and a life of delusion, mata' al-ghurur and so on. So how someone can find satisfaction in this life? Therefore being gharib, because this is not the home of eternity. The home of eternity, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَإِنَّ الدَّارَ الْآخِرَةَ لَهِيَ الْحَيَوَانِ, the true life is going to be the hereafter. Therefore, the way how we view this life make a person already by our fundamental belief to look at it, to perceive it as something strange. So to be a stranger in this life, because someone is not only just crossing it and he's going to die and then will live to the real life, which is the eternal life. So this is the aspect, because the one who will not have this type of belief, then he end up being satisfied by this dunya, looking forward to achieve fulfillment in it, and then being heedless about the hereafter and losing his path and losing his akhirah. And that's, in this hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, what we can get from him, from this hadith. The other part, there is another part in the hadith which is added by Ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, so it's not in the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. قال وكان ابن عمر قال بعض العلماء كلام ابن عمر متفرع من الحديث المرفوع. So the saying of Ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu is kind of a comment or an extension to what he have heard from the hadith. So what he used to say, Ibn Umar radiallahu ta'ala, he used to say قال إذا أمسيت فلا تنتظر الصباح. So this is a way of explaining the hadith, or the way how you implement this hadith. So you see Ibn Umar, he didn't talk about anything about the physical things related to the dunya, but an aspect that is spiritual and an aspect related to the belief. قال إذا أمسيت فلا تنتظر الصباح. إذا أمسيت فلا تنتظر الصباح. So if you are in the evening, you are coming at the time of the evening and someone is alive, so do not expect to be alive till the morning. وإذا أصبحت فلا تنتظر المساء. And if you are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you life in the morning, so do not expect or be sure or let's say guarantee that you're going to be alive in the evening. This is not to be like pessimistic. No, this is a fact and the reality, because a person does not know when he's going to die. And the term of life is only in the hand of Allah and known by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, if someone in the morning is alive and he's not sure, he does not know if he's going to be alive in the evening or not. So because being alive in the evening or guaranteed, so someone will be like kind of deluded to plan for things that he might not be alive to achieve them. This aspect of thinking helps a person to invest in every moment they live. So Allah gave you this morning, you are alive, invest in this morning as you're going to be the last morning. Then if Allah will give you the gift of the evening, then invest in this evening is like the last evening. Which goes back to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, صَلِّي صَلَاةً مُوَدَّةً. The pray as is your farewell prayer. So imagine someone, if he thinks this is the last prayer I'm going to pray in this dunya, and then I will not be able to pray at all. Then imagine how devoted and how focused the person will be in the prayer. So this is in this line of this aspect. So this is in this line of thinking and the line how someone can gain focus and can, practice better management of time that can insert in it more devotion, more focus, more dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when the person knows that the life and the time is in the hand of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. By the time a human being is in utter loss, except those who believes, قَالَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا, and act righteously, in a righteous way, and they advise each other with haqq and sabr. So you see, the time is that, subhanallah, the field of the test that someone cannot change and cannot alter. Therefore, when someone has a time that being given to them, you'll take advantage of the time. You take advantage of the time as is part of your life. So every hour, if you have in it hasanat, this is going to be reflected in your record. So when you come to the Day of Judgment, imagine every hour you have more hasanat, or the maximum of the hour is good deeds. That is actually how is this thing is reflected. فقال وخذ من صحتك لسقمك ومن حياتك لموتك, as we have mentioned, and take from the صحة. Here there is a beautiful hadith. قال ومن حياتك لموتك, خذ من صحتك. He's saying here وأن العاقل إذا أمسى ينبغي له ألا ينتظر وإذا أصبح ينبغي له ألا ينتظر المساء بل يظن أن أجله قد يدركه قبل ذلك. He might think, subhanallah, someone think, I might die this evening, therefore he will be ready. And the mindfulness is very important, because when such a thing happens, someone even ready to, inshaAllah, bestow upon us all the gift to say La ilaha illallah, the testimony of faith when someone is dying. And the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, whoever last words are the testimony of faith will be admitted in paradise. And such a thing will not be possible if someone is not mindful of it. For this reason, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala قال لا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. Die not except on a state of Islam. And all of us, we know there is aspects that are not under our control. The time of death and the way of death, we don't know how it's going to happen. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it an obligation of the believer to die not except on a state of Islam. So in this aspect, what do we control? The state of our heart. That's what we control. Because the state of your heart, if you feed it with the remembrance of Allah, with piety, with righteousness, then your heart will be ready to move your tongue, even in states of Allah when someone cannot even open their eyes, but the heart will, inshaAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide you to give you the firm speech at the time of death, because you are mindful. So لا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون, to be a person mindful and being ready at any time when death will visit, he will be ready, inshaAllah ta'ala, to say that word La ilallah and to die in the state of Islam. قال وفي كلامه الإخبار بأنه لا بد للإنسان من الصحة والمرض فيغنم أيام صحته وينفق ساعاته في الخير. Then look what he said. He said, and then invest from your صحة, from your healthy state, to save for the days when someone will be sick, and from one's life to save for what after death. And the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ mentioned more other aspects. So here, when someone is in good health, وفيما يعود عليه نفعه فإنه لا يدري متى ينزل به مرض يحول بينه وبين فعل الطاعات. So when you not only you take advantage of the time, but you'll be focused and doing the maximum, that someone can do at that particular time. Because someone does not know when he might be sick, so he will not be able to do anything. قال يحول بينه وبين فعل الطاعات ولأنه إذا مرض كتب له ما كان يعمله صحيحا. And this is how beautiful Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bounties on his servant. So imagine someone every night or after, he will read, or morning, he has a word from the Quran, he has word from the dhikr, of remembrance, of pondering, of salat. Then when the person falls sick, and will not be able to do all that awrat, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordained to write down all what he used to do when he's healthy. But when someone was healthy, he was not doing anything. When he is sick, he's not going to get any benefit. Yeah? For this one, قال خذ من صحتك لسقمك. So when you do, effort during your healthy time, mashallah, and when someone happened to fall sick, so the record of hasanat and of action, or righteous action, will be registered in his record. قال ولأنه إذا مرض كتب له ما كان يعمله صحيحا فقد أخذ من صحته لمرضه حظه من الطعام. Then he's like kind of guaranteed while he is healthy, that part of the obedience and action when a person falls sick. Today people, they only think about, securing themselves, money-wise, finance-wise. Always saving someone. If I fall sick, I'm going to have this, if something happens. But the believer will think things otherwise, things about ta'at. The more you do obedience and action, righteous action, when someone will not be able to do it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant them to them as a mercy of Him, bounty of Him, and also rewarding the person how he managed his time to invest it in the right way. ومن حياتك لموتك أي خذ من أيام الصحة والحياة والنشاط لموتك بتقديم ما ينفعك بعد الموت. The same for your overall life, whatever you do is going to be, insha'Allah ta'ala, being invested or save it for you in the afterlife. وهو نظير حديث النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم بادروا بالأعمال سبعة. بادروا, hasten to do the action before 7 things will hit you or will be inflicted on you. ما تنتظرون إلا فقرا منسيا. Someone you will be like in a modest way, in a situation balanced way, and then subhanallah struck by poverty. This poverty is going to make the person to forget everything. Yeah? So if you invest your time while you are in a good situation, then before something happened to the person, that will not be able to focus. But if such a thing happened, then that a'mal al-salihah that he did will be kind of saved for them. أو غنى مطغية, and someone might become rich that make them to be a taghi, transgressor, and going over the bounds, and becomes arrogant, becomes a transgressor. So someone, subhanallah, however, when someone is doing the ta'at with sincerity, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala struck him with, or like difficulty struck them, or like one of the aspects in this hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect these people. أو مرضا مفسدا, or an illness that will cripple a person from doing any of the action. أو هرما مفندا, an old age that makes someone senile. أو موتا مجهزا, or a death that will take away a person, to the next life. أو الدجال فإنه شر منتظر. أو الدجال, subhanallah, the fitna of the Dajjal is a big fitna that someone might not be able to stand against the Dajjal and the fitna of the Dajjal by losing their faith. So if someone will not act and hasten to do the righteous action, so the righteous action not only for the purpose of accumulating the action, that's great, but securing the faith in the heart. Securing the faith in the heart, which will help a person to gain perseverance, to gain steadfastness, and to gain strength, so they will face the difficulties. And some of the difficulties that the Prophet ﷺ mentioned here said. The next hadith, قال أو الساعة والساعة أدهى. And the last one, and the hour. And the hour is like, the most shocking, terrifying. Someone will be, in the land of resurrection. That's only, subhanallah, those who Allah bestow upon them mercy, they will be saved. The next hadith, we have 5 minutes. عن ابن عمر رضي الله تعالى عنه قال من تشبه بقوم فهو منهم. And this is hadith أخرجه أبو داود وصححه ابن حبان. And the other hadith قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من تشبه بقوم فهو منهم also, but from another path. So it's the same words. So man tashabbaha biqawmin. Him whoever, like he who imitates any people, emulates any people in their action, is considered to be one of them. This is hadith profound and very important, for our life, especially in this society. Man tashabbaha biqawmin fahuwa minhum. Whoever who emulates, whoever who imitates people, he becomes one of them. One of them. حديث دال على أن من تشبه بالفساق كان منهم أو بالكفار أو بالمبتدعة في أي شيء كان مما يختصون به من ملبوس أو مركوب أو هيئة. So you see here the author rahimahullah ta'ala in his comment, he say whoever who imitates the wicked person, the wicked people, the ungrateful, the non-believers, the people who make bid'ah, innovators, in anything that is very specific to them, from clothing, from rights, from looking appearance, he becomes one of them. He becomes one of them. One of the aspects very important here is at-tashabbuh, imitating others, is first, corrupting one's identity. That's the first thing. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give you a full identity as being believer, servant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and everything being specified for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make halal for you all the tayyibat and make haram for the khaba'ath. The same goes for the clothing. So the clothing, someone need an attire that, respect and observe the modesty, being clean, looking nice, all of that, subhanAllah, is from the etiquette of Islam. Even the person, one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ was talking about, showing off and everything and arrogance. So one of the companions said, Ya Rasulullah, one of us loves to wear the nice clothes and put the nice shoes. He said, I'm not talking about that. That is from the jamal, from the beauty, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves beauty. So he separated. He said, the arrogance is to belittle people and to put yourself above the truth, or deny the truth. That is the aspect of arrogance. Here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us everything. However, the imitation has a disease, First, subhanAllah, is a feeling of a kind of inferiority and a defeat within one's inner self. Because if someone imitating, then they do not have confidence in what they do. That's one aspect. Inshallah, we can explain it further next time if it's needed. So this is the first aspect. The second aspect, by imitating, the problem it's not to imitate the appearance. That is restricted to the imitation of the appearance. The problem that imitation that will also encompasses all the background of these things. All the background. For example, someone imitating people how they wear or people how they talk, actually what they are imitating is the background, how these people they came to talk to that path, how these people they start to perceive these things. So what they are getting, it's more the perception of these people toward this specific aspect. That's why the Prophet ﷺ said, it'll become one of them. The Prophet ﷺ, he prohibited the way of certain haircut, al-qada. Why? Because of certain of the jahiliyyah they used to do it. So people, if they see it, it might be related to some of the ritual. It might be related to some, code of tribes. So it's what that imitation, it really takes a whole background. So when someone imitates something, he's not imitating the facade or the superficial aspect, but he's taken with it the whole background behind it. A background that is proud into disbelief, a background that is proud into showing off arrogance. So you see many of the youth, for example, they try to wear with some, people like, good type of singers and things, or what they call them idols. It's not about the appearance. these kids, they also change the way how they walk. They change the way how they speak. They change even the way how to make gestures. So they are embracing the full identity of the other people. And by embracing that full identity, they are embracing also the thoughts, because how someone will be doing, for example, if they're from their parents or their friends or their elder, such a gesture, which is like it might be disrespectful. But then they embrace it and they're proud of it. So these people, subhanAllah, are corrupting their inner identity. That's why the hadith is very important, because the Prophet ﷺ said, whoever imitates a person or a tribe or like say, or a people, he becomes one of them. And it's very profound and scary, because one of them, if they are kuffar, a person becomes a kafir. If they are wicked, a person becomes a wicked person, because he embraces that. فنسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى العافية and والثبات على الدين. جزاكم الله خيرا وبارك الله فيكم. If you have any questions,